Okay, to all our listeners out there in Radio Land, welcome, welcome, welcome. We'd love to welcome you today to Talk TV Media Network Politics. Today is our political show. We are here to bring you live the happenings around the world in Africa, in Liberia, and your neck of the woods. We'd love to invite you on the show. It's Friday Talk TV Media Politics. We have our colleagues will soon be joining us on the show today. My name is Sam Gadu at Controls. And Talk TV Media Network, the voice for the voiceless. We go places where others do not go. Today we have a bunch of topics to talk to you about. Liberia just had about elections. We need to touch a little bit on it. We have our one of our contributors as well, Mr. Kofa. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, comrade. Thank you.
And Joel, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Doing fine.
Awesome, awesome. Today is politics, man. We talk government. Joe Boakai visit to the U.S. Is it a success? Is he still here? What has he been doing? We want to hear from you. And we'll let all our audience to call in, our viewers, wherever you are, to call in and be a part of the show. Today at Talk TV Media Network. We have one of our colleagues who will be joining us later as well into the show, Mr. Fasa. What's going on in LIB? The president's visit to France on the Peace Summit. We'd love to hear and get some update from that end as well. But until then, man, well, let's start the show because, you know, time is our biggest enemy when it comes to this show. What has been the development from your end, guys? This is an open show today. It's politics. We're going to touch everything.
I've been following the new development regarding the by-elections. So that a lot of independent candidates were elected to the by-elections. I also follow Ambassador Boakai too around the U.S. Trying to build relationships across the place. I also follow Cummings. So he posted regarding the elections, recognizing those who won the elections and encouraging those who did not succeed. So those are things that I followed.
That's good. That's good. We need to hear more information for what's happening. You said Cummings, the CPP. Can the CPP hold? I posted something that says by Chinia Chibi in the center of what they hold, the center that what they help me out there. Things fall apart. The center cannot.
The center can no longer hold.
Yeah. Is the CPP going to hold? Can they hold together to be able to defeat George Weah, current president of Liberia, come 2023? Let's start with that, bro. Can the CPP hold? What? Because we all have been following these collaboration parties, the CPP, Cummings, UP, and all the other two, Yuri party, all the other two guys. There has been a lot of bad blood among their supporters, and a lot of confusion has been taking place, not wanting to get along. Everyone has their own political agenda, you know, and so the collaboration is falling apart. What do you come? What's your take on all of that stuff, that whole rigmarole that's taking place in the CPP?
You know, from my end, comrade, it's disheartening. You know, it's unfortunate that guys cannot come together and understand that, you know, the leadership issue is not about personal goal, but it seems that the way the whole CPP scenario is playing out, people are just, you know, concerned about their personal interest rather than the interest of the Liberian people. Because if I were in that situation, I would rather, bear in mind personal ego and allow the ego of the general public to prevail. But it's like people are only concerned. And some people think that they were born to be president of Liberia and that they can never subordinate their interests to another person. And I think so, except that they can drive away from personal ego,
Right.
the CPP will never hold.
So you think personal ego is what's in the way of all of this?
Absolutely. Each and every one of those guys want to be the shot cutter. I mean, I want to cut the shot. Nobody want to say no. Let this guy cut the shot and we all can benefit. It's I want to be, and unless they can drive away from that, it will not hold. And if it cannot hold, they will suffer the most, because it will mean that at the end of the day, it could play in favor of the current regime.
Right.
I think one of the observations I have made, and I think I said that sometimes ago, is that first there was a problem with the formulation of the CPP. Everything you do, the social foundation of everything plays a major role, and I think the political framework they use to establish the CPP, I think whoever were the political advisors at the time did not do a good job, in my opinion. And the reason why I think they did not do a good job is they should have set on an arrangement where each of the political parties maintain their respective identities. That particular structure, it was set to fail. So, for example, Unity Party maintained her structure, ANC maintained her structure, ALP maintained her structure, Liberty Party maintained her structure. Now, so that particular structure in itself, it put them in to see themselves not really as a group or as one body. It put them in a situation where they still see themselves divided, loyal to their respective political party, at the same time loyal to CPP. That was not the right structure they needed to form. And I think that is one of the areas where I think CDC had an advantage, CDC too, it took them a long time to learn lesson. Now, George Weah is a very popular guy. He didn't win the first elections in 2005.
Right.
He decided to go as vice standard bearer to Tottenham. And when he went as vice standard bearer to Tottenham, he did not succeed. It still did not help his ticket at the time. And then finally, they realized that, hey, that while it is true that George Weah is popular, he has popularity, I think we need to build some alliances or a coalition that will help us to win. So CDC, what they did was they went straight up for it. They went to an arrangement where each of the party, especially the vice standard bearer, Joe Howard Taylor, recognized that George Weah may not have the political experience. I believe she knows that George Weah may not have the kind of leverage in terms of the technical know-how in what a government should be. But she recognized the fact that George Weah was the most popular guy, and that by collaborating with George Weah, he's going to win. So those other political parties accepted that CDC should take the standard bearership, and they accepted the fact to take the second. But in the case of CPP, they went there where all the standard bearers believe that they still want to be standard bearer for their party, yet they want to come into collaboration. Now we can see the effect of that, So I think to go back to the foundation, I think the structure they set up from day one was the wrong structure. They needed to merge.
Are you saying that from a legal standpoint?
I'm saying that from both a legal and political
from
standpoint.
Just your overview standpoint.
From both a legal and a political standpoint. I believe that they will have more political leverage, because the problem here is you do not want to have fragmentation as you go towards election. You don't want to have that. And the arrangement, the current arrangement they have, they are fragmented. ANC is on the other block, the other side. But if they have merged and all of them get turned into one group from the onset, I think they will have had a very, it would have minimized some of the conflicts they are having now.
Wow.
Well, I would like to, agree with Joel with respect to the foundational issues. And I think it's critical to the entire arrangement. At the same time, there were my initial point that I made also dovetail into the process that each and every one of these guys continue to hold on to their ego. I mean, even if the foundation, let's just take for instance that, all right, it was just an ad hoc arrangement. Okay, gentlemen, you know what? We have to unseat the CDC regime. So let's come together, put ourselves together as a collaborating political party. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But if the individual ego did not play into it or is not playing into it, they could have eventually cemented the relationship into a concrete, institution that would have today given the Liberian people hope. So with respect to the foundational issue, yes, it's still also predicated upon that issue of, and Joe said it, that, because the merger was a fragmentation, it was done legally grounded, because when you come into a merger, each separate entity will have to let go their identity and come up with a new identity. All right, and
right.
that didn't happen.
Mr. Kofa, can you come up a little bit to the camera so our viewers will be able to see you? There you go.
I'm okay. I'm okay now.
A whole lot better. Good. Perfect.
All right. So they keep holding on to their individual identity, as Joel earlier stated. All right, and so Comey see himself as being a standard bearer for the ANC. Joe Boakai see himself as being the standard bearer of the Unity Party. All right. So, and they all have their followers, and no one is telling their leader to say, you know what, I think it would be better, the arrangement, let's do it this way for the sake of the Liberian people.
But Mr. Kofa, if you look at this entire stuff that's happening among the CPP supporters, and even the toughness between the leaders, probably a lot of it is coming just from the coming people and that of the Boakai party. A lot of this stuff, political stunts that they're all pulling on each other, and then looking at LP, whatever LP, where Hassan Bility, Musa Bility is, with all that stuff that happened a few weeks ago. I think some are saying that it was a political intention by ANC to be able to divide the party, get in there, because a lot of people are saying, because Cummings has money, he retired from Coca-Cola with 30 million. I don't know how true that is. So money is a factor. He's buying people, trying to divide people. But my experience has been that Liberian people they are at the point where they just don't vote for you because of money. They vote for the personality, the person they know. That is an evident. That is evidenced from the just bar elections that it just had. Because if the people don't know you, you're not in the community. What you doing in the community? What's your input? What's your presence? What have you done for the people? There's no way they're going to vote for you. So that has been a factor. But all these allegations, as in ANC Cummings is, infusing money to buy people from the other political parties to divide them. I don't know how true that is, but we are here to just make sure that we bring all whatever we hear on the table for people to hear and make choices and decisions. Because come 2023, there's so much, we'll have so much awareness out there from social media, from everywhere, that people will be informed to make concrete decisions when it comes to who should be the next leader of Liberia. It's not just, it's, I don't think it's just gonna, it's just gonna be, give you a bag of rice or a cup of rice and vote for me, kind of stuff.
Yes, that could be true, but I don't have the actual fact in terms of to validate what is ongoing. But most time, rumors that come out, there are some little truth attached to it. So it's possible that somebody who thinks that they have a deeper pocket could be using their deeper pocket to fragment, the political arrangement and make sure that people but the thing is, and this is my personal view and assessment with respect to the whole political spectrum as it stands. I do, I may be wrong, and people may disagree to agree, but
yeah,
when I see the whole political terrain, I think that political terrain is not favorable to the ANC. And my reason being,
mm-hmm.
Even though it's not constitutional, it's not legal, but political expediency, it is important. Whether or not the Liberian people are prepared. In mathematics, we have replacement by substitution.
Right.
To remove a George Weah from power and take another guy from Maryland, George Weah from Grand Crew, take him from power and then put a Maryland man in power. I mean, it may, as I said, it may not be, legal, it may not be grounded, but
what if the Maryland man is qualified to
well,
lead
the issue of qualification is another thing maybe we can delve into, because in my opinion, it may be relative in terms of what people see to be qualification with respect to the presidency.
Right.
All right. It's relative. I would say no. The yardstick people using because somebody was a vice president or a president for a corporate entity qualifies him to be president, I would say no, but we can delve into that. But what I'm saying is that are the Liberian people ready now? And what is the ANC own political base? Because if you look at the Southeastern region,
mm-hmm.
that could also buttress ANC own effort. Georgia is from there, and Georgia is going to lag that entire place. Cummings is not going to take any more good votes. Boakai is from the central region, and the central people are saying, this is our time, we need our own. Are they going to turn their back on Boakai and say, okay, we've taken a man from the Southeastern region? I yet to see that. And this is where the common sense need to play into the whole political process. I'm not going to say Cummings bow down to Boakai or Boakai bow down to Cummings, but we need to dance around the thing with the truth. And those who get ears to hear, let them hear. Those who get eyes to see, let them see. And
I think Kofa has made a very good point, and I think I wrote a little something a few months ago regarding what Kofa has said. And I think he's coming to the same point. And when I wrote this, the just shortly article, and I think some people felt that I was being biased, and some of my former students and other people felt that okay, because I'm from Lofa. But I always tell people personally, I'm not a loyalist of Omen Boakai. But I've been looking at the political terrain in Liberia, looking at Cummings' background. I don't believe that the conflict in CPP helps Cummins or even help Boakai. I don't believe that it helped either of them. I think it put them at a disadvantage, and I think it even puts Cummins at a greater disadvantage in the political terrain. I believe that collaboration between Boakai and how to call him and Cummins is important for their respective political careers. That's my own argument. And one of the things I said, Cummins, it takes time to build relationship. Now, there's this concept they have in sociology, they call it social facts. All right. Now, there is in every society, there are certain social facts that you have. Those social facts are determined by the country history. It's determined by the cultural aspect of that country. It's determined by the economic situation of that country. Now, it is not that those facts don't change, but it takes a lot to change those facts. For example, one of the core social facts in Liberian political terrain is the fact that has to do with ethnicity. All right. Now, I have to talk about it, and I'm not a tribalist. When I'm providing this kind of analysis, I'm looking at our historical situation. And even the great United States, even France, even Canada, you can name any democracy around the world, there are just social facts that are common to all the political parties. Now, Boakai is from Lofa, all right? George Weah, who is the incumbent, is from Southeast, all right? Right. Now, if you look at all of our political parties in Liberia, they are dominated by certain ethnic group. That's a social fact.
Right.
Look at PYJ party, is dominated by Nima County. If you look at Liberty Party, it's dominated by Grand Bassa. Now, if you go to Cummins, I'm yet to understand the demographic of Cummins, but every candidate that go into the race in Liberia, you must have a region of the country that is under your belt. You must have it. We are not saying that you don't need the other counties, to be able to win. You must have that region under your belt. And although Cummins is working very hard, I would have thought he would leverage with Joe Boakai now and try to use that opportunity to create his own political future. I'm one of those who believe that if this collaboration falls apart, I foresee Cummins having problem with his political future on the basis of the disagreement.
Wow.
And let me also add to what Joed, just narrated, and my dear comrade, look, Africa is not the West. Right. We need to get this. We need to get this to a level. We will have the understanding that no matter what, people have, as he rightly stated, the ethnic factor in our political setting. You cannot divorce that from the political process. You cannot. And you saw how the 2017 voting went. No other political candidate got any good vote from the Southeastern region. George Weah swept almost everywhere. All right? And it tells you that the Southeastern, they thought that it was their time, even though we are not in numbers, but they did what they could do. And
but Mr.
Yeah, go ahead.
One will argue, one would say George Weah swept that entire Southeast simply because Ambassador Boakai was, former president, was betrayed by his own president.
No. Let me cut you off there, Mr. Moderator. Boakai could not have done anything more than what he did in 2017. He was strangulated. Financially, he couldn't breathe, but he came second. I'm not a Boakai man, though. I'm just looking at the facts. I supported the current regime last election. All right, I'm not a Boakai. But the thing is, at that time, after 12 years, the Liberian people were fed up. They needed something new. So even if Waka had the hundreds of millions of dollars, it would have been a difficult game for him, because the Liberian people were resolved that, look, we need a change. And it is that change, whether they needed a change for the better or a change for the worse, they just needed a change.
I think even with Erling's support, if you look at even the race between Erling and Weah always dominated in the Southeast. So I don't think even though Erling had been silenced about, she had not been very inspiring about her former vice president candidacy, I still don't think that the demographic in terms of the last election, will have even changed. George Weah has always been, he's a household name in the Southeast. There's no question about that. In fact, if you look at Monrovia, if you look at the demographic,
Maserado, since 2005.
You look at the Bushra Island and those areas that are southeastern leaning, you still see West Point, you still see George Weah having a lot of leverage in this community, you know, and this is why we continue to point. Demographics, the demographic situation in Liberia, the ethnic situation in Liberia is a major issue, and that is why you see Erling Johnson Sirleaf. She's aware of that. Erling speaks Gula well. Not only that she speaks Gula well, Erling tapped into that ethnic situation to win. Erling did not select Joe Boakai because she just wanted to select Joe Boakai. No, she understood that the ethnic and the tribal factor in Liberian politics is very key. Even when Erling was structuring her cabinet, take note. When Erling was structuring her cabinet, she looked at the demographics. She was able to make sure she took prominent people from the different counties. She was able to make sure she reflect the religious diversity by getting prominent people from the religious diversity. She was very keen in those areas. And that was one of the reasons why Erling became very successful. And that is why, in the case of ANC, and that's the challenge that Cummins is going to face, I'm not saying Cummins is not going to get support. He's going to really get support. But he's going to have this ethnic factor working against him in these elections. It's going to work, especially when he had the security.
But George, the Erling factor, right?
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Because she's a heavyweight in that nation when it comes to politics. What do you guys think is going to happen come 2023? Because it seems like, yeah, she's a member of the UP, but she's not saying anything. The Omar quiet. You know, she knows what she's doing. She's a political strategist. She knows what she's doing behind the scene, who she's connecting with. Who do you guys think she's going to be, you know, throwing her weight behind come 2023?
I think she's going to remain silent. So here is one I think I'm observing.
You think so?
Yes, she's going to remain silent. And the reason why she's going to remain silent, Erling's concern now is how she can live a very quiet private life as a former president. That is her greatest concern. And although she may have her own personal preferences, she knows that political situations are dynamic and fluid, and anybody could become president. She's aware of that. She's aware of that. So it is in her best interest, if she doesn't want to support her vice president, it's in her best interest to keep quiet and play behind the political scenes. That's all Erling can do, because she knows that by coming in the forefront and championing the cause of any of the candidates, she risks having consequences beyond the elections. So I'm very confident Erling will remain quiet, although I believe that to some extent it impacts the candidacy of Ambassador Boakai. It impacts him to some extent because Erling, like you said, she's a heavyweight internationally. Internationally, Erling is a heavyweight. She has the connection. She has the political connection. And I would really think that, you know, if Ambassador Boakai can find a way to really get her on his side, it will be strategic for him. You can't underestimate the influence that Erling has, you know, in terms of her influence internationally. Now, on the domestic scene, she does have influence, but I don't think that influence outside in Monrovia, I believe that influence is greater in Monrovia. In Monrovia, where you literally have a little liberal politics, she has influence on voters in Monrovia to some extent. But when it comes to the ethnic and demographic situation across the country, I don't think Erling has an influence. I don't think so.
You know, and let me add to what you said. You know, I'm not sure what it's hard to read Ellen's move. Whether seriously, she's kind of an unpredictable old man. You can never know her next move, whether she's coming to strike or she's not coming to strike. I mean, someone may have his or her own perception about that, but that's my personal observation and view. And I recall sometime this year, or whether last year or early this year, she went to the United Party headquarters and she pronounced that it was time to revamp the party and all of this, and I think that subsequently even led to the removal of my man, with my Comrade Wilmot Pay and the rest of the guys, And since that time, she remained quiet. Nobody feeling her presence around the party. So, as Joyce rightly said, nobody knows what she's doing behind the scene. Rumors have it that she's supporting comics. Nobody knows. I can't say that for fact because I don't have any actual information. But we yet to see where, and I think what Joyce said is, he's right, that right now, I think she's in her 80s or something. She's now focusing on enjoy the rest of her life she got to spend on this earth. And if she has to do anything, maybe she's going to do it quietly, but at the same time too, she knows that politics, like if I borrow the voice from Josiah Johnson, who said that football is a biscuit, it breaks on either side. Politics can go either way. You understand? It can go either way. I mean, today, George Weah may think that the CDC may think they're going to win, but it could be a shock to them. Who knows? Liberian people are unpredictable. You never predict the way they're going to do things. And we saw that. We saw that with the DeLong fighter. When the Liberian people are fed up with you, they demonstrate that. From 2005, George Weah had held on to Monserrato. Even Ellen Johnson Sirleaf could now win George Weah consistently in Monserrato County. The records are there. DeLong tried, they beat DeLong, he couldn't. But George Weah took seat in less than 2 years. DeLong became a hero and beat the CDC 2 times.
Right.
2 times.
And so, just to make a very important point there that we need to take note of. CDC is aware that Monserrato will be a tough battle for them. And if you clearly look at their strategy, they are trying to focus more on the rural counties. They are focusing on Lofa, they are focusing on Bone. Although with the by-election we are getting, it's not saying a very good indicator, because I saw my own friend and brother, Nathaniel McGill, he worked very hard in Bond County. He's been working so hard with the by-election, but I don't see the results coming the way they anticipated to come, because CDC want to cover for the gap in Monserrato. CDC is worried about Monserrato. Looking at what happened with the senatorial election, they are worried. So what CDC is trying to do technically, they are trying to push in the rural counties so that in case they have gap in Monserrato in 2023, they will cover up with the rural county. That's the strategy. And this is why I'm looking at the CPP. If you move Boakai and you say Cummings had the ticket, CDC will easily be able to get their way. Number one, Lofa County will split heavily going towards CDC. That's what I foresee, because here's my analysis. There are prominent sons from Lofa County that are in the CDC. Tom Fala is working very hard in Lofa County. Sir Joseph is working very hard in Lofa County. So if you have somebody heading that ticket who really is not from Lofa, forget it.
Plus they have the vice president.
Yeah, they have the vice president as well.
Wow. So ladies and gentlemen, today is politics, and we're coming to you live here in the United States, here in Oklahoma. And wherever you are under the sound of our voice, we are talking politics. We want you to contribute. Call in. If you need to call in, we have the number on the screen. It's a WhatsApp number and a USA number. You can call in and give us your input. The number is 539-525-1552. Again, the number is 539-525-1552. Call in and be a part. Can the CPP hold? And also, gentlemen, I like us to talk, move forward a little bit, because time is our biggest enemy. With the by-elections you just talked about in Bumi, in Bong, Grand Jita, and Nimba County, you know, it was a shocker to even the CPP and even George Weah, the CDC, because it seems like the people are not listening. The people are voting on personalities, on who they know.
Yeah, and even PYJ, Prince Johnson also it's a shock to him too.
Yeah,
because from what I understand, that the candidate that he supported, they did not win. So it's a wake up call that 2023 may likely be a different ball game, because Prince Johnson has always been, he's a household name in Nimba County and has been very influential in making other candidates win. So I'm surprised to hear that people that he supported did not win. I'm shocked to hear that.
Yeah, and part of the notion of what people are thinking is because not just a household name, but it's like he's the grandfather for the county.
And comrade, you know, I know you said we should move on, but I just wanted to chip in a little point, you know, with respect to Joe Weah.
Yeah,
you should know that Comey must understand that Joe Weah is the opposition leader in that country, because he came second.
Yeah.
And he votes, in my opinion, even though human behavior cannot be predicted, but from analysis of previous years with the CDC, one can infer that Joe Weah vote remain constant, and the blood continued to increase with the decimal performance of my own region that we brought to power. Honestly, with the decimal performance of the regime that we brought to power, the way people are deflected, and the authorities reveal Joe Weah, and this is where, you know, I talked to a few friends of mine who are in the ANC camp. That look, the best that you guys could do was, is that play the devil advocate. Close your eye, find an entry point. There, your whole man is qualified. He was corporate guy. My man, government is quite different from the private sector. The way you give instruction in the private sector, you expect output in the private sector, is not how the public sector works.
You're right. You're right. You're quite right about that. Running government is a whole lot different than the way we run our own businesses, and part of that is actually what former President Donald Trump faced here in the U.S. You know,
absolutely,
because he's been a corporate guy running business for years and stuff, and that's the mistake people I think tend to make. You know, that because this guy ran this, he could do this. It's a whole different beast. Running a government,
absolutely.
You know, but
in the private sector,
I would say if you have been in the private sector and ran your own businesses, you know, and you worked in a governmental sector, and you have both experiences brought together, you stand a very good ground to run.
Absolutely. I can tell you that. Look, Mr. Ningado, tomorrow I need that report. Your output is not up to the task. I'm running you. I mean, I can fire you anytime, even though as president you can do that. But the intricacies involving in operating a public sector those are quite different from operating the private sector. And that is where I want people to understand. You and I have been in this country. There is nowhere in this country, and Cummings himself knows, that you will apply for a job, and they don't, you may have the credential, the academic credential, but experience in this United States matter most than credential.
I agree 100%. It almost like somebody believing because you have a PhD you can be president of Liberia. That's not true. You know, yeah, that's not true. I always tell people, I say I like credentials, I like educate, but it doesn't mean when people have PhD you can be president of Liberia. No, you can have PhD and still be incompetent for the presidency of Liberia. People need to understand that. You know, because when it comes to the competency for a job, there are a lot of things that come into competency. Your education matters. Yes, we agree. Also, your popularity is also part of the competency. You must be able to be people-centered because that is key in leadership. Because political leadership, if you're not people-centered, you can be able to lead, you know, and that one of the assets that George Weah has, you know, and then you must be able to have the integrity as well. Having the integrity, do you have the integrity? Do you have the sound judgment decision making? Do you have the network? So there's a lot of things that come with becoming a president of the country. And that is why you realize in Constitution, although I have a legal background, everybody can wonder about that. It's very hard for you to see anywhere around the world for lawyers to put.
I think we probably have a caller on the line. Since we're going to let our callers in, I'm going to interrupt you guys every time I receive the call. So the caller can contribute. Caller, hello.
Hi, my name is Alafaza, calling from New York.
Can you guys hear him?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Faza.
My concern is, what is the way forward for the CPP? You guys are talking about the ANC, Alexander Cummings, and also Joseph Boakai. The Hulabalo is still ongoing, and the election is 2023. What do you guys recommend? What do you guys suggest? Should they divorce and go their own way? Because the thing is not working. Even in marriage, if the marriage is not working, if there's abuse, the best thing to do is to separate. But what do you guys think will be a way out for CPP as we go to elections? At least again, the Liberian people have so much hope in this process. But if it's not working, what would you guys suggest? I need your opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Faza.
Thank you. I think one of the things here is in practice, the collaboration is not working. It's already dysfunctional in practice. In principle, we have CPP, but in practice, really, the collaboration is not working. So if our Ambassador Boakai, few things that need to happen. He needs to set a timeline as to where they're going to, how long they're going to consolidate this particular CPP. And if that timeline does not work, the parties will come back, set a timeline and say, hey, we have this time now to decide whether we want to continue this relationship or not. If that timeline doesn't work, then they can go their separate ways. Although I know the consequences going separate will be huge, but they will have to go their separate ways. You know, like I learned in the framework they are saying that no party can go their way, but that's not possible. That would be a challenge with the Constitution because there's freedom of association. You can't restrict somebody and say you are bound to be in this agreement and you can't go no. It's not like you're having a business. There's politics, you know. So I think they need to come to a short term and decide when they want to reconcile and have that reconciliation quickly, or not. They have to go separate and let so people can understand where each party is going.
I think it's going to be a hard call with respect to this guy coming together. Time is fast spent. For how long we've been talking about the whole CPP thing? This is the 19th of November. In few weeks' time, the year is gone. We are into election. When they are actually focusing on election, that's when they're going to face the CPP. I yet to see it, even though Joe said he's going to work and see how they can, but the best they can do, if it cannot hold, let them go their separate way, and then let's see what happens. The Liberian people will decide.
But do you guys think that former President Joe Boakai is being realistic and practical enough at this point, even though he just took over as the head for CPP? But I was listening to Senator Dillon. He wants to attack, but he can't attack when his own house he's attacking for is in disarray. This week I listened to Yeke Culver, who has disassociated himself from the ANC and the CPP because of the same thing that's going on, that he's not going to be a part of it until they can fix the issues, I beg. So at this point, with Joe Walker saying that, oh, he knew ANC leader Cummings years back, even here, and this is going to work. Is he deceiving himself, or is he not being practical and realistic enough?
Well, I would say he's being optimistic. And there is nothing wrong with optimism. You have to set your goals and be optimistic that you will achieve them. In the process, if you don't achieve them, that's fine. He's being optimistic that it will work, since he has taken over the leadership as a state, elected state man and a political leader. He feels that he can reach out to the rest of the guys, convince them. That right. That is optimism. But in the process, if it doesn't work, it does not work. And he can't come in the public to say that I don't see, as a leader, to say I don't see the CPP holding together. Even if the odds are obvious, he still need to express that optimism in the spirit of oneness. So I think that's what the old man is doing.
And so if in the end they happen to fall apart, that means the elephant meat is there for grabs.
At least he will take solace in the fact that he has tried and it didn't work. That will now reflect negatively on Cummings and the rest of the guy. At least Boaka will be on the safe side. That, gentlemen, I tried to pull the thing together, but those guys refuse.
Here is one of the things I foresee beyond the whole crisis. So I know they're going to go separate. That's my own prediction. They are going to go separate, although they still have CPP now. But I know that somebody will have to go in the second round with George Weah. I know that George Weah cannot win the elections outright. That's not possible. Looking at our voting population, there will be a second round. But here is what's going to happen. That second round, whoever between Boakai and Cummings, whoever that is going to go in the second round with George Weah, if that person loses the election against George Weah, the person who feel the other person is going to take the blame from the Liberian population, and that person will get ready for after George Weah, if they have a political future. I don't know whether Boaka is going to run beyond this. Whether if Boaka is the one I'm not going to he going to feel I go in the second round with George Weah, he's going to take the blame. Although I foresee him going to retirement, but he will take the blame. If Cummings is the one who will not go in the second round and Boaka go and fails, Cummings is going to take the blame. And I'm going to for sure saying his political career coming forward will be very tough, because nobody will want to really go into a collaboration with him. People, even those of us that are independent who may have some sympathy with that arrangement, it's a little bit something that's going to be a problem for him beyond 2023.
I think that if someone should go, that scenario, I'm sure that if Cummings would have gone into the second round with Weah, I'm optimistic that Boaka, will pull his ambition aside and will support Cummings.
Yeah.
But whether Cummings will do the reverse, that's what we don't know.
Yes, that's
but what do you guys foresee when it comes to Honorable Boaka's visit to the U.S. so far, since he's been here? His achievement, his accomplishment so far, his connections. People felt like I was reading some comments that the old man seemed like he's waking up. People thought he was sleeping, but his energy level with those he's connecting and meetings and press conferences. What do you guys make up of that?
I think one of the things I'm observing is that he's showing that he has the stamina to be president. That's what I'm seeing. One, to see him traveling from one state to another at his age, then he's actually proving beyond reasonable doubt that he has the stamina, because we know, like I've been saying, the job of the president is not a joking job. So he's proving that. One thing that he's proving. Number two, he's also proving that as vice president, he's built connection over the 12 years, that he has already existing connections that he can leverage upon. Although I know people are critical of him. Some people say he's making relationship with states. Some people believe that he's making relationship with some congressmen who are not really at the national level. But I think whatever relationship you build in the U.S. is very important for your own candidacy, future candidacy as a president of the Republic of Liberia, because all of the guys in the U.S. here, they have impact in their different political parties. Whether it's the governor of the state of New Jersey, whether it's the representative, they all have influences in their different constituencies. So I think he's actually proving that he has the stamina. He's trying to defy that, hey, I have the stamina. And another message he's sending also is, hey, I think one of my weaknesses on the international front. So let me focus much more on building that relationship, and I will come back to the domestic front. So I think that's what he's trying to tell us.
I do agree with you, and I think the old man is strong.
Yeah.
Look, man like me, as young as I am, I wear glasses to read. The last time I saw the old man reading, the old man didn't have glasses on. He doesn't carry glasses. He reads as old as he is.
Yeah.
Perfectly. And he's not reading stuttering. And so I think he has the energy. And coming to the United States, my brother, your political career is incomplete when you don't visit this place. So it's important, given our own historical tie with the United States and a broad base of financial, harnessing the resources. I mean, you need to get in touch with people here to be able to do that. Whether, as Joel said, whether it's a governor he's connecting with, he just needs that entry point. And it is that one entry point that will make the rest to be history. So I think, it is important that he engages with the U.S. and build his network, so that tomorrow, and also he has to govern our resources. You can't get the money in Liberia. I mean, our people don't have it. It's from outside you're going to mobilize the resources, the support base, in terms of the campaign. And so I think it is important. Cummings was here too. He did his own. The old man King is doing his own. So I think they are all moving in the same, in a perfect direction.
Talking about money, you just touched a topic that I just need to talk about a little bit. I want you guys to kind of touch a little bit. The government will be introducing new currency in Liberia. The rate is dropping, but the prices of products are not dropping. They're not changing. So the economy is getting tougher every day, because those of us that call our relatives and people back home, it's tough. The exchange rate has dropped, but nothing is shaking when it comes to products. What do you guys make of that? And here we are, 1 year to elections, new currency is being introduced on the market.
I'm not an economist, and so usually I'm a little bit but few things I know. Changing currency is not new to Liberia. We all know this. Changing currency, we're one of the fastest changing currency country I can say in the region. Taylor time, Alien time, George Weah time, and maybe the next election we're going to have the changing currency. So, changing currency, in my own common sense knowledge, like I said, I'm not an economist, but I believe that I don't think it's going to change anything. If in a short while, it's going to artificially maybe affect the market. We're getting new money, but I know that's not going to help. What I want to be seeing is that the productive capacity of the country. I want to see job creation. I want to see the attraction of foreign investment. Because, for example, if you attract maybe 2-3 companies that bring maybe $2-3 billion, then yes, I will be happy to hear that. Because
but Joe, hold on. I'm gonna hold you right there, right?
Yeah.
You may not be an economist, granted.
Yeah.
But look at the pattern. Every time there's a new currency being introduced on the market, there's corruption that takes place, embezzlement that takes place. you know, and they printed this amount of money, and so much this one is stolen, no accountability, and all of that, it affects the market and the people.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I agree with you. The first thing is that the regulatory arm of the money in Liberia is weak. The Central Bank of Liberia is weak. It's a very weak entity. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the Committee on Banking in the legislature is a very weak body. Money printing is not just a joking thing that people should play with in any country. That particular oversight body is also weak. In fact, I follow one of their hearings. A lot of the things that have been happening, they are not even informed. But although they are not informed, they are not really taking any serious action to address some of those gaps. So I know that we at some point we're going to have some economic problems. I foresee that either inflation again, or other the prices are going to go back up again. You have to back it up. Just printing the money doesn't help us as a country. So if we're attracting foreign investment, like I said, maybe we're getting maybe a company coming in the country that bring in 1 billion or bring in $2 billion. I would be so excited to hear that, because I know the more money you bring in the economy, then it's going to have an overall impact on the lives of the people. People are going to get jobs and whatever. But if the employment rate is not going up, if you're not attracting more companies in the country, if all the young people around the place, they're here, they're not really having anything to do, they're not engaged, if businesses are not really making profits and they're not really growing the way they should be growing, I think all the currency is just more like, you just printing another paper again. That's what it means to me.
Mr. Tuffa, what's your contribution? Time is almost against us for our listeners out there.
Yeah, let me just start up with the prices issue. I'm sure if you follow the central bank report, for previous years, at about this time, in Liberia, the rate, there is a historical fact that the rate dropped at this time when we are approaching Christmas and all of this, because there is an influx of remittance going into the country, and that remittance, the people are supporting their family, getting for Christmas and days. It kind of affect the exchange rate, but how it translates into prices falling is another narrative. And we will see that, if you look at the business cycle, in Liberia, you will notice that the first quarter, second, third quarter, business people, and that at that time, the rate is at its peak, because the pressure in terms of demand for foreign currency is high, because business people, we have to demand more of this, foreign currency, but then they don't want the domestic currency. So it put pressure on the exchange rate. And so, and it is that money they use to import. At this time of the year, the business people are not concerned with importation. What they are concerned with is getting rid of inventory that they have been keeping over the time to sell, to auction, to sell, or whatever they want to do. They want to bring in new goods in the new year, so they want to get rid of the old goods. But then the question is, have they been making profit on these goods? That is the question we don't know. And that is why maybe, even though we see the rate dropping, but the prices are not, dropping in line with the rate dropping, because the business people, some of them have not, broken even, and they still want to, reap their expenditure. And that would be one explainable factor with respect to the price issue in Liberia. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying that is really something the Liberian government need to address, because if this is an ongoing thing every year to year. I go to Liberia and come back, and now I'm hearing that with the effect of this rate change and a rate drop, you can even see it's hard to even get change on the market when it comes to the US dollar. Sometimes I wonder if you go and buy an item somewhere in the store, they want the US dollar more than the local currency in the first place. Why don't we just, revert and go back to using the US dollar as our, national currency instead of having two currencies? All of that. Because, yes, we have the local currency, we have the US dollar, but everyone is gravitating towards using the US dollar than the local currency.
That is another debatable factor in terms of the whole dual currency. And there are always two schools of thought. There are people against, there are people for. And people think that Liberia would have been properly situated to attract more investment, for given the fact that Liberia uses the US dollar, which is considered a vehicle currency in international trade. But our institutions are weak. Our management skill weak, and our economy is weak because we do not have productive services. We are importing everything we do. Our economy is not generating anything. So that makes it difficult for us to survive as a country. And then on top of that, corruption is also is also adding on to the existing problem we already have. And so but with respect to printing of money, I understand. If we look at the velocity, the number of time money changes hand, it also have an effect on our currency, So I think one thing the central bank need to maybe capture, maybe they have it, is within how the time frame in terms of mutilated banknotes, because
Right.
we need to be replacing. I think in the US here, it's just that it's so big. I know at some point in time the Fed will have to replace the currency, because the currency is not forever. As
Yeah,
it
but
changes,
comrade,
yeah.
that is very easy if they are structured enough to know what they are doing. Because here in America, if you have a mutilated currency, a US dollar note or $20, $5 taken into the bank, it's never going to come back to the market. Simple as that.
I agree.
So that doesn't affect the flow of the economy, because now the Federal Reserve Bank is working in alignment coherently with the banks.
Absolutely.
So that's all they need to do: partner with the banks. That's it right there, and simple. So if this bad currency, mutilated currencies hit the bank, and a lot of these people are banking with local banks, you replace it. The next time someone is going to go withdraw, give them new ones. So you don't have to go back.
It's easily done here compared to country like Liberia. We don't have even the mechanism to print money. We have to print money outside of the country. And so to do that, at some point in time, you need to seek approval. And this is where, when they go for approval now, that's where the noise comes in, or they want to print another new money. And again, too, the printing of the money could be politically undertoned.
Right.
It could be politically undertoned. It may not be actual economic problem. It could be political problem. Maybe people want to put George Weah here on the money, so they think we can move it, or somebody, or something. So we don't know. But what I was saying is the economic factor is, when we have bunch of mutilated notes, they need to be getting rid of and print new money.
Gentlemen, we are down to the wire, and
okay.
I have a call coming in, and let's give them the last chance, because our time is already fast spent. Caller, where are you calling from? Your name, please.
I'm calling from Oklahoma, also Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And, I'm John KK.
John, go ahead.
I really want to congratulate the Honorable Gadu for this platform. We hope that your voice, the echo of your voice will be heard in every corner of Liberia and beyond the borders of our nation as well. I don't have that much to say, but I listen in and out very closely at the discussion today, and I know we are talking about the political landscape now in the nation. Pretty much what I want to say is that, and I hope your guests can expand on this a little bit more. What I sense is that the vision of these prospective presidents, either one of them, whether it's Cummings, Boakai, let me say, the Honorable Boakai, or the President Weah, so far that we know, because things that are moving politics is very fluid.
Right.
One of the things I think that is getting lost because of the fight is that we are not hearing about the vision, their vision. Where do they want to take Liberia? Are they the people for the 21st century to take our nation? Do they have solutions that are outdated? Are they coming up with ideas that might have solved 1980s solution? But we are in the 21st century now. And I understand a lot of people talk about the experience of the former Vice President Boakai.
Mm-hmm.
Will the experience be an advantage for him or a disadvantage, considering that his experience comes from the past? You have good experience and bad experience. And people talk about Cummings. Now, with Cummings' issue, with his missteps and everything he's done so far, it's proven that a little bit lack of some political intelligence, because he's made a lot of critical mistakes here. But then again, you have the President Weah. I think every one of us who are listening and have interest in the nation,
Mm-hmm.
and have so much desire and put our resources in the country and our part for the nation should be challenging these people. I think what should be the loudest is their vision. Because, and I will say this and conclude a little bit, is that I'm a little troubled with the conflict in the CPP. The reason being is that the picture of CDC predicting how CDC was going to govern. And people say, oh, we didn't know this was going to happen. No, CDC shows it all along. CDC was never organized. CDC was never disciplined. CDC didn't have intellectual minds that would come up with ideas and policy. CDC did not articulate their vision for the nation. So all of those things, you can have all of those things and expect something good to happen when people are governing. Now, we see the same mistake that the so-called people who have experience and who are educated, because now we said George Weah are not educated, so we give it a pass. But we have the Honorable Boakai who has experience. We have Cummings who has great education. But they are not talking about the things that matters to the Liberian people. How are they going to take this nation that is broken, this nation that does not have the resources? I'm not talking about natural resources. You need the capital resources to invest in the natural resources, to turn those things. How are they going to build systems? How are they going to put processes in place that will move our nation to the future? So I love the political fight, but as we enjoy the political fights, as we commentate and talk about these things, I would love for us, for those of you who have the opportunity to talk to these guys who are vying for political position, I think we should press them to tell us, number one, where are you going to take us? Number two, where are we now? Because any good visionary must understand where his people or her people are, and how are you going to take them to where you want to take them?
Right.
So I would just conclude with that and say I really appreciate the conversation. I love your guests. They are very, very, very informed. That's why I didn't add that much on what they were saying. But I just wanted to challenge us a little bit. And for those of you who have spoken to them, maybe you guys have spoken to them. But I'm here very much interested in politics, very much interested in what's going on in the country. But I don't even know what the Honorable Boakai will do for Liberia. I don't even know what Mr. Cummings will do for Liberia. I don't even know when Mr. Weah wants to take Liberia. And that is a serious problem.
Thank you very much, Mr. John KK. Okay, gentlemen, We are down to the wire. You heard that vision, very, very important for these guys, and that's probably how they're going to win, by projecting their vision for the country. And we do have another caller coming in. Another call is coming in. Just hold on, guys. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Jimmy Kazulu. I'm calling from New Jersey.
Yeah, Jimmy. Quickly, you have 2 minutes.
Yeah. Good evening to your studio guests, especially Mr. Joel Bima. How are you?
Doing great, brother.
Go ahead. Go ahead. What you have to say or your question? They are listening.
Yeah, I don't have the question. I just want to make a few comments real quick. Number one, to the printing of the money. You know, our opposition politicians, they need to do more than just talking. In fact, I have not heard them say, say anything about this printing of new money. Now, up to now, it is not yet clear what are the denominations that are going to be printed. I listened to the finance minister on Spoon Talk a few weeks ago, and he was asked a particular question about a $1,000 bill that was not.
Oh my God, we just lost him.
Yeah.
He called through WhatsApp. We just lost the caller. But we can deduce from what he was wanting to say about the different dimensions of the currency and holding the political leaders accountable to be able to contribute, hold the government accountable when it comes to the printing of the currency. I assume that's what he was trying to say. And our previous caller talked about vision. You guys expand on that a little bit. So we out of here. We over our timeline already.
I think the issue of the vision is very important, and I think that caller made a very strong point. I think and the only way I'm not saying none of the candidates, all right, although I know Liberian, the voters in Liberia are not, because of the level of literacy in Liberia, the voters in Liberia are often not people who try to look at the data. But I want to see, and I agree with him, for example, and those of you who are supporting the different, listen to us, who supporting advisors to Omen Boaka, advisors to Coming, advisors to Weah. For example, I want to see Omen Boaka, if you're telling me about
Omen, say Yombo.
Okay, Yombo Boaka, President Boaka, Honorable Boaka. I want to see if he's saying, for example, I want to address the educational system. He needs to be able to give us the numbers about what is happening in the current situation in the educational system and tell us what he hoped to do in his term. He needs to tie them to numbers. We need to see the numbers, because they cannot just be telling us, I will do this, I will do this. For me, like that, then it make me a little scary that you don't understand the situation. So if Mr. Cummings is talking about, for example, gender-based violence against women, he needs to be telling me, what does he understand now about the current situation? What is his plan? What is he projecting? How he's going to intervene when he becomes president? I'm not seeing that. And so I agree with the other caller that is so important. And another point that Jimmy made that is so important is, because CPP crisis has overtaken the whole discussion, nobody is now listening to their argument. So issues like the money currency, and although I heard Darrell Dillon, one of the strong opposition guys, talking about it, and other people, nobody is hearing them no longer, because the crisis is it's overshadowing everything that they need to be doing.
Yeah,
Your final closing words, Mr. Kofa?
Yeah, I think the brother made a salient point, and we have to, the political process has to be driven by vision. What you're going to do. I recall when the CDC took over, they had a pro agenda. It was taken, it has taken the entire plate. This time, I do not hear about a pro agenda. I don't even know the indicators, whether the benchmark, whether they have been met or now. I don't know where they are now in terms of deliverables with respect to the proper agenda. I don't hear about that. And so, but what just just to to backtrack a little bit, I think as Joel said, the whole CPP thing, has overshadowed these people, and the fact that they have not come up with actual leader in terms of who's going to bear the flagship of the CPP. Maybe they were waiting that, okay, once we have our standard bearer elected, our vice standard bearer, now we can start, because as they're trying to put the CPP together, that's supposed to now be presented to the Liberian people.
Right.
You can be producing individual vision. The anticipation was that once we come together and we select our people, then we can do all of this. But the way it is going now, I think individual now, they should start to begin telling the Liberian people in terms of where they're taking the country. And that brother make a salient point. And that vision and mission should be driving the political process.
Wow. Man, it's been a little bit heated in here, and very informative to our listening audience. To you all, this is Talk TV Media Network. We are on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, the website. You can check us out, and we do talk politics here at Talk TV Media every Friday at 5 p.m. And Saturday we talk TV Media Sports. That's when we bring you all the sports happening around the world and in Liberia at 12 noon Central Time here in the U.S. Also Sunday we talk about religion. Talk TV Media Sunday show. You can watch us and listen to us at 2 p.m. Central Time as well. And Wednesday, we talk business. Yeah, on the same show, Talk TV Media Business. We want to find out what's going on with your wallet and how this show will be able to enlighten and help you out, especially with spending and Christmas and the holiday around the corner. Tune in every Wednesday at 12 p.m. as well. Gentlemen, we are out of time. That's our biggest enemy. And thanks to you all, our callers. This platform is open to inviting our government officials here. We'd love to hear from you. Come on the show, be a part. Let your constituents hear from you. This is why we are here. We are an independent broadcasting system. And we don't take sides. We discuss the issues very honest and fairly. So if our government officials, our senators, lawmakers are hearing us, the platform is here for you. Call us in and connect with us. And so your people will be able to hear from you what you have done, what your vision is for your people and your constituents. Gentlemen, thank you, man, for the show. Any final words?
Thank you. It's a wonderful time. Let's continue to pray for positive Liberia. We want Liberia to be a great country. All of us, that's our concern. And let's try to do the best we can, whether it's you, the politicians and everybody. Liberia is all we have. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade, for the time. And I want to urge you that you do everything in your ways so that this politician, Cummings or Waka, they can come and sit in a hot seat so that we can engage them, so they can tell the Liberian people their vision and mission for the country come 2023.
Yeah, that is definitely our hope and prayer. We're going to continue to reach out to them to let them know, or their spokespersons to come on the show and let them bring the vision and their platform. Let them, the Liberian people need to hear.
Absolutely.
We are here to educate the Liberian people come 2023 so that people will make an informed decision when it comes to voting. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
And you too, comrade. Thank you. Bye-bye.